Hello, everyone, and I'm back. Hi. It's been a week, something like that, probably. But yes, we're here. Oh, once again, we got a juicy one, a spicy one, a um. Give me a nice adjective, fellas.
Uh, delicious.
Oh, I was
Uh,
thinking that too. Delicious episode. Yes.
scrumptious.
Oh, scrumptious. That's a good one. Oh, Carl, you got any?
Kind of a fun one that goes with our topic today.
Okay.
A bat-tastic episode.
No, that's enough out of you. All right. So we are here, as you can see from the uh title, the thumbnail, and Carl's adjective. We're gonna be here talking about the Arkham universe, the Arkham games. We're not gonna talk about the comics, but we're gonna talk about the games in the Arkham universe and just discuss them a bit. I mean, they've been a very pivotal cornerstone of not just like superhero games or even like Warner Brothers games, but like gaming in general, really. Like the Arkham series is legitimately within probably, you know, top whatever percent you want to say for when it comes to video game series. Because they really redefine what a superhero game is nowadays, what it feels like to be a superhero. I mean, that that sentiment has been drowned through the mud, but rightfully so.
Yeah.
So, boys, we're going to be talking about Arkham Origins, Arkham Origins Blackgate, Arkham Asylum, Assault on Arkham. We are going to talk about the movie here, just because we want to spice it in there a bit. Arkham City, Arkham VR, and then we'll end it off with Arkham Knight. These aren't going to be full in-depth reviews because if so, we'd be here for like 5 hours, and I don't want to be here for that long. But we're gonna, just talk about them a bit, discuss it because uh, this series is very near and dear to all of our hearts. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't think any of us have played all the games in it, unless Carl has played Origins Blackgate.
Nope, never played Blackgate. I played
And
Origins,
I'm not willing to spend
Asylum,
money on it.
City, VR, and Night.
How about you? Have we all watched Assault on Arkham?
I have.
I don't think I have.
I don't recall having to either, so this will be very interesting. But without further ado, let's sort of just jump into it. Carl, I know you have some info on all of them so far, so why don't you drop some of that on us?
So starting off with Arkham Origins, I'm only gonna read the settings because this pretty much gives me an entire plot, pretty much. This game is set 8 years before the events of Batman, Arkham Asylum. Batman is 27 years old on the verge of completing his second era as a crime fighter. For the most part, he is using the to fight those who are weaker and slower than him. That all changes on Christmas Eve when Black Mass puts a $50 million contract on his head. The bounty has drawn the attention of 8 bounty hunters to kill Batman, Deathstroke, Killer Croc, Deadshot, Firefly, Bane, Lady Shiva, the Electrocutioner, and Copperhead, which whom one of them Batman has defeated while at the same time dealing with the crazy clown villain called the Joker, while earning the trust of police captain Jim Gordon in the Gotham City resident.
Thank you, Carl. So, I know that Jacob holds this game very highly, Arkham Origins, and you know what? I kind of gotta agree with him. This game's got a very nice atmosphere to it. I mean, all the games do, but I don't know, something about this one feels very different.
Yeah.
And if memory serves me correctly, this is the first Arkham game where you actually explore Gotham itself.
You don't really do that in
Technically,
the
yeah.
other ones.
Yeah, because previously, obviously, Arkham City, you were in Arkham City, and
Eh,
Arkham Asylum, you were
well,
in.
technically, Arkham City is the rundown half of old Gotham.
Yeah, it's a part of old Gotham, but and obviously you can visit parts of Arkham City in Origins.
Actually, I think you could go to all of it.
Yeah, but there's also new areas and nothing is really blocked off like it is in City. Yeah, I really like the atmosphere in the game. I was pleasantly surprised with Roger Craig Smith's Batman. I mean, because at
I
the
thought
same
he
time,
was very good as well.
yeah, because at the same time I was playing this game, I was also playing the Assassin's Creed games where he plays Ezio. So suffice to say, I like Roger Craig Smith. He also plays Sonic. He's not my favorite Sonic, but he's good enough. And I believe Troy Baker also plays the Joker in this, which I
I
know Jacob
believe.
loves. Which I
Let me
know
make
Jacob
sure.
loves Troy Baker.
I love hearing
Dude.
his voice in everything. It's my favorite thing in the world, actually. My hobby.
Yep, Troy Baker. Joker was the voice of the Joker in this game.
One day the world will be renamed Troy Baker. It'll no longer be Earth.
We'll all be here, but we'll be voiced by Troy Baker.
Absolutely. But yeah. Is there anything that I'm missing to say about Arkham Origins? I think
It only
I think
I
it's
think
it only had one DLC, and
that was
it was a Mr. Freeze DLC.
yeah.
I played it. It was quite good. So
I also know there's a bunch of DLC costumes, but that kind of comes with every Arkham game.
Well, I'm saying just the
Yeah, in terms of missions and story and all that. So and also correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't this game slightly inspired by Year One
I think it was
to a
a
certain
little
extent?
inspired.
according to the trivia that's at the bottom of the Wikipedia article on fandom.com, Arkham Origins resembles Christopher Nolan's movie trilogy in some elements. For example, the Gotham City in Arkham Origins resembles Nolan's look on Gotham. And the top of that, Batman's cowl in Origins seems a bit familiar to Christopher Nolan's Batman cowl with the medium-sized ears. I don't I don't
You
see
know
a-
what's
yeah, it doesn't say anything
hmm.
about year one here.
Well, have you read Year One, Carl?
Yes.
Would you say that it resembles Arkham Origins to a certain extent?
Like the Batman learning a relationship with Jim, yeah, but other than that, there's no crime families in it, minus the mention of the Falcone family.
Yeah. Also, may I add, we might talk about this more when we get to the Arkham Knight side. But that game has a lot of costumes, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it has super long ear Batman from the 90s.
Technically, the Ark Batman Ark not Origins, but like one inspired by the Arkham Asylum, Arkham City one has pretty long ears.
Hmm, fair enough. But nothing crazy long like you see in like Nightfall and all that.
No, nothing that I remember.
Fair enough, fair enough. Jacob, you wanted to say some stuff about Origins?
Yeah. I think Arkham Origins really improved on the combat, or not really improved. It took what was there and added things to it.
Mhm.
Um, it also has the best costume design for Batman in the entire series, in my opinion.
I think the
Um,
game looks really
it
smooth.
does, especially if you play it on a good. It's gonna sound weird, but especially if you play it on a good PC, it looks so good. Looks
It looks
smooth.
really nice.
That the I like the time period it also takes in. The time period's nice as well because it's a time when we don't know much about Batman.
Especially within this universe. So I mean, when you look at what's the best way to put this? Like looking at Origins, the game looks very youthful. it looks very nice. It looks uh like I said, smooth. And when you look at something like Asylum, I mean, all the Arkham games look great, but like Asylum is very gritty. I mean, obviously you're stuck in the asylum, but like the
Yeah,
characters
they
and
all have
such.
different vibes. I think the one place that fails though is in its atmosphere, where there's not much to do.
Well, yeah, I'm from that aspect, the atmosphere is a bit lacking, but what I mentioned earlier was referring to like the scenery and like the feel of Gotham around Christmas time.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think the soundtrack is great as well.
I mean it's always been great.
That there's a lot of positives to it. Overall, it's probably my second favorite to play through because there's Arkham City's definitely my favorite, but I would say that this one's my second favorite.
What really bugs me is that something you encountered was that some items can get soft locked.
So I don't remember that.
Didn't you try to do a specific mission? It was like with the sonic batarangs, and then you couldn't end up getting
Oh,
them.
you're talking about the challenges. Yes, there's an issue where the challenges, if you don't do them at the time they tell you to, they don't actually tell you. But the time that it's possible to do that, you get locked out of abilities, which is
That,
really frustrating.
that stinks.
It does. It is arguably the worst part of um of the game. It's something that could easily be fixed if they gave you a mission replay.
Yeah, which I don't think that's something that the Arkham series has.
No.
Only the only technical one is if you are going off tonight for a second, is if you do the Arkham episodes, you can redo those, but it's the only one. You can't redo story missions.
Yeah, which that really sucks because then if you do something like that, you have to play the whole game over again, and I
So
don't think it gets even.
I just forgot about it and completed the game, even though I
Yeah,
never got the shock batterings, I think.
because that was never really an issue in the past two at the time Arkham games. I don't think they had anything that could potentially be locked if you didn't complete them at a certain time.
Yeah. Uh
But oh, minus that glaring detail, and I know some people have their qualms with the story and its
I actually
twist.
love the story personally. I think
Well,
it's
I think people have qualms with the twist, the
yeah,
fact
the
that it was
twist is not
Joker.
the greatest, but the actual story itself is fine.
Yeah,
Think-
and yeah, I kind of get what they're saying with the overabundance of Joker. I mean, this isn't exclusive to Arkham. It's become a huge thing, but the overabundance of Joker, and yeah, I mean, I get that part. He's in too much stuff.
Like,
But
for example, of
I don't think it's egregious here.
with how much, like he's talking about the overexpression of Joker. I'm currently holding in my hand for our audience Batman Superman World's Finest, and their main villain, their second new villain in this arc is the Joker.
Yay!
it all
But
depends on how he's used because I think that the story for Arkham Origins is very personal. So in my opinion, I don't see a huge problem with it because I think that the story surrounding it is very good. But I can definitely see that like if you have a problem with Joker, which I do, you guys just well know I have a problem with the overuse of Joker.
yeah,
Um it just like with Joker War, all this stuff like bothers me. Um Other than that, I don't really I think it's not as egregious as some other things I've seen. Yeah, it's not like I don't think that the only problem I had this is gonna be a spoiler by the way with this you might have heard this end credit actually I don't think I can say it Carl knows what I'm talking about. It's a
Don't know
movie.
why.
It's a movie. He knows what I'm talking about. But it's something's revealed in there that really bothered me.
You have to tell me the movie, otherwise I'm
The
clueless in
Batman,
it.
the new Batman movie, the ending.
Oh, that. Yeah, yes.
So no, I didn't need to say. You just knew what I was talking about.
Well, yeah, the scene, but you just tell me a post-credit scene. Like every superhero movie nowadays has a post-credit scene. You're gonna be a
Every
little more
movie
specific.
nowadays has one.
So you gotta be a little more specific for me.
Yeah, but
Can't
that
do.
was my that really made me annoyed seeing that. Um,
Yep.
I don't have a problem with the use of the Joker in this game. I think the Joker is used very well in all these games.
Yeah.
I do think he's used a lot too much though. That's my only thing.
Was there any more thoughts you wanted to throw in for Arkham Origins, Carl?
Nope. That's it. All I want to say about Origins.
There's one thing that I want to mention before we move on. I know we have a lot to talk about, but I really want to gush about this one thing in Origins. The boss fights are
Oh, those are
awesome.
so good. Best boss fights in the series by far.
Like overall, absolutely, it has the best fights in the series. The one with Deathstroke is freaking immaculate.
I
Ah,
agree.
I had so much fun with that boss fight. See, this is why since the next I guess stoppage within the Arkhamverse, as we know, is Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I really that hope that that game has some sort of mission replay. I mean, if it's good, but like some way to relive the really cool parts without having to start the game over again.
Yeah, because in my opinion, a lot of people discount the game because it wasn't Rocksteady. Wait,
Which
Yeah.
I feel like is
Uh,
fair.
to go back for just a second, because I have deleted the tab for Origins, because we were done somewhat talking about it. One of the trivia facts at the bottom of the page said, let me get to it in a second. It said trivia. Come on. As this game was not created by Rocksteady, it is not included in the Batman Return to Arkham series. Despite this, Arkham Knight contains many references to Origins, and being the first that was not made by Rocksteady, most fans were skeptical about Origins.
yeah, it's the same case with it's weird because I love this game, and I also love another. I also love another game from from the series from a different series that is also that's not made by the same studio, which is BioShock 2. BioShock 2 improved took actually BioShock 2 is a different case where it took everything the first game did, improved on it immensely, but people often look down on it and don't think of it. They only think of Infinite and let's see. Yeah, they either just think of Infinite or or the first one. So I think Arkham Origins is unfortunately put there, even though it has many things above the even Arkham Knight. Again, this is just a hot take from me. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Quick idea. Anyway, moving on. I believe we move
Uh,
on to Arkham Origins Blackgate.
yep, next one, it's just going to be a brief mention of the plot because none of us played or Blackgate.
That and there's not a ton to talk about.
There's no reason to play it.
The
First of
entire
all,
plot of this game is 4 lines long. It says 3 months after after the Blackgate riots, the majority of Gotham City's most notorious thugs have been locked up. Unfortunately, a prison break at Blackgate has occurred. Batman, at the request of James Gordon, decided to investigate. He soon realizes that a full-scale breakout has resulted, and all of the Blackgate staff is being held hostage by the convicts.
Yeah. So this whole series, this whole game could just be summed up in it. They're in a few words, but there is something interesting to mention: the fact that this is the first and only side-scrolling game. Have you ever played the Chronicles Assassin's Creed games?
I know
No.
what they are.
They're a lot like that,
Yeah.
where where they where they use the mechanics, but they put them in a 2D setting.
Which I think is
So
very interesting.
yeah,
Very interesting concept.
it was. I think this game could have been interesting if it had been done correctly.
But
But
there's not really much to say about this game. I mean, it has Catwoman in it. There's not much else. Although I do have one thing to mention. If memory serves me correctly, I could be very wrong, but I believe that this game has a mechanic that the other games don't have, in the fact that costumes actually affect your stats and how they can actually change the way that Batman plays.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but it might be true.
Like I said, I don't know if that's completely true, but I know that's something that's not in any of the other Arkham games. They're purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little tidbit. So without further ado, I suppose we should get to Arkham Asylum.
yep.
This would be the
So
first canonical one
yep.
after Arkham
Yeah, after
Origins.
Origins. And good lordy lord, what is there to say about Arkham Asylum that hasn't been said before?
So let's start with the plot first
Yeah.
before we get into. So lucky for me, when I'm looking out the Arkham Asylum Wikipedia page, it gives me the plots a lot simpler. So I don't need the other tabs now, thankfully. But
Well,
according to this, Arkham Asylum, following a number of patients' breakout attempts over the years, Warden Sharp had the asylum's security and facilities greatly improved to ensure inmates did not escape. Some quickly noticed by the Joker, for example, new electric barriers, suicide collars, weapon detection, and CCTV cameras were introduced to ensure patients' behavior could be more easily controlled. Despite this, a mysterious fire at Blackgate results in all of Blackgate's prisoners being transferred to Arkham Asylum, which puts a greater strain on the facility. That proved to be problematic as the staff could not closely monitor so many prisoners, which resulted in Harley Quinn being able to take control, able to escape and sneak into the security room. During the incident, the asylum was greatly distracted by patients. Poison Ivy's plants were mutated by Titan, which damaged a large section of the asylum.
Hmm.
so obviously this was production wise, this was the game that started it all. This was the beginning of the Arkhamverse as we know it. And like I mentioned, what is there to say about this game that hasn't already been said by a million other people? It's amazing. It's an absolutely great game. All these games are great. I mean, minus Blackgate, and I guess I wouldn't call VR a great game, but that's kind of because it's kind of short.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, this was the one that introduced the combat, the story, the characters, the everything. So I suppose we should start where I kind of alluded to earlier, how this game looks. I mean, I guess it technically looks the worst, but it doesn't
But it
look
doesn't look
bad.
terrible at all. It looks
It
very
doesn't look
good.
bad whatsoever. Like a lot of the character designs are fantastic. Um, like I said, it looks a lot grittier than something like Arkham Origins, but I feel like that really suits this game because it's very confined. It's isolated within the asylum,
Well,
which I feel
I
like,
also think something important to take into account is that this is inspired by the Paul Dini universe.
yeah, yeah,
Not
and
not it's not the Paul Dini universe, but it's very close to
yeah,
the
it's
feeling
inspired.
of it.
Yes, inspired by the animated series.
And that this game specifically has a very isolated feel compared to the other games, which are very expansive and open. This one's very claustrophobic in a lot of ways. a lot of tight, narrow hallways, a lot of close quarters combat. It's if that's what you look for, then this is the one for you. And obviously, it introduced a lot of iconic characters within the Arkham universe. Heck, even guys you only see in like side missions from now on, like Zaz, we meet in this game. And I believe, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but Quincy Sharp was made specifically for the Arkhamverse, correct?
I think so.
Yes, I believe so. Let me find his name in this Wikipedia page. Crap, I have to go. Oh, no, there he is. I found him finally. Open the
Yeah.
tab.
Obviously, this game had fantastic voice actors. It had Kevin Conroy, may he rest in peace, Mark Hamill, um, help me out here, Hair Strong as Harley Quinn. I believe it had Steve Blum as Killer Croc. Always good to see Steve around.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
Yes, it does say here. Quincy Starr was the first original character who was created for Arkham series by Rocksteady.
well, there we go.
Hmm.
Stellar. Exactly, and the further games just built upon it. That's because every series has to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
However, there are a few things that drag this game down a bit. One of them for me would have to be the boss fights.
Oh yeah, they are not very good.
They're
You
not,
mean you mean Project Fight Bane 10,000 times?
yeah. I mean, I don't think they're definitely not the worst boss fights I've ever seen. Far from it.
You say there's only, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only technically two unique boss fights. Bane, technically, and Ivy. Everything else
Yeah,
is a recycle
Ivy
of the
has the
Bane
unique
fight,
one.
and everything else is just a recycled Bane.
Yeah, the recycled Titan fight,
That's honestly where
and they even did it with the
Origins comes out on
Joker.
top.
Yeah, or Origins overall has the best fights, boss fights in the game in the series, and I'd say its best one is tied with one we'll talk about later. But in terms of Asylum, it's very repetitive when it comes to the boss fights because most of them are Titan based. They even do it with the Joker in the end, which I know that's a pivotal part in the series because that's where his sickness and everything that happens in the city comes into play. But the boss fight itself isn't that fantastic.
Okay, I've noticed this recently just because I was looking at the model for Batman and Arkham Knight again, and I've
Hmm.
noticed in every other game after Asylum, his right arm where he got shot by the Joker is
Hmm.
bigger than his other arm.
It's very interesting.
It's like, did the Titanfall just get in that arm only?
Or maybe Batman is I'm not gonna go there.
So would you say
Maybe.
he's pulling a
Selena,
Quagmire?
I need help.
Selena. Bro.
I haven't
Do
left
you
my
get
house in 5 days.
do you get that
I
joke?
mean
Yes, I get it.
I mean, when you consider Harley Quinn was tied up in the steel mill in the second game. I mean, yeah, the
That
second game.
that wasn't by him though. That was by
I mean,
Talia.
he's still, you know, fell upon her.
Hey.
Um,
I mean, she did to Nightwing, so I think it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
bro,
No one's gonna remember that because no one takes it seriously.
which is kind of unsettling, but also kind of funny.
Okay.
And unless we want to count the whole scarecrow sequence, which I think the scarecrow sequences are really cool, but I don't think they count as a proper boss fight.
No, you just run around, you hit a bunch of skeleton enemies, just try
Yeah.
and avoid his gaze until you get to the bat signal to shoot him with light.
No, but there's some of the more interesting sections in the game,
Like,
though.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
say they are interesting. I'm just saying they don't really count as boss fights.
yeah,
No,
but
they're
I do think it's very unique. especially with when you really take a second to look around the environment, you'll see a lot of very interesting things. It's very dynamic, very cool. However, there's one part in the game that I think yeah precedes even that, and that's the part where you have to go into Killer Croc's lair to get the plant for Ivy. I don't think it was a plant, some kind of sample thing.
No, it was a plant. You have to get a Titan. You have to get some kind of plant
That
sample
was it.
for her.
That was. But holy crap, that part was freaking frightening when I played it.
It is pretty
Okay.
intense.
Did you die the first time?
Yes, I died the first time.
Like when you were running to it and you got to the door, did you not set the explosive before you got to it?
Nope.
I
And
saw the
then
explosive. Hate to say it, I got into a habit of Arkham Games like wearing detective vision. Oh, explosive thing need to go here. Drop, then start
yeah,
running.
but dude, when you hear that music and Killer Croc just starts chasing after you,
Yeah.
it's the Arkham series does great with the horror aspect, which I feel like is something that's not
I mean, if you think about it, Batman is just living a long horror movie.
yeah, yeah.
So it
Which
makes sense when you're walking around that it's very scary.
yeah, that's one of the parts that I really like about that game is the Killer Croc segment.
What I like about it is how small it is
Yeah, it's like I
because
said, it's very claustrophobic.
you don't feel like you can go many places, and that might seem like, oh, they're just limiting the game. No, because you're supposed to feel like you're stuck.
Yeah. And there's a
Um,
lot of things packed into this tight place.
And since
Like I
they
it's
said,
they
only
use
the
they use the space very well.
yeah. They shove in a ton of references. Good God. Not only with like the Riddler trophies, which I think there's only 120 in this. It's not that bad.
The best implementation of them in the series by far because they're riddles that are actually fun to solve.
Yeah, like there's the Amadeus Arkham ones. Uh oh God,
interview
that's awesome.
tapes.
Yeah, I really liked finding the interview tapes. I don't know about you guys, but I went out of my way to go find those, and I had a blast doing that.
The game a lot is much like or like it much like early Zelda games uses its limited space very well, and
Yeah,
it evolves it over time so that it doesn't feel like such a small space.
like in future Arkham games, you have proper designated side missions. And the only one you can really call a side mission in this one is finding the Riddler trophies, doing all that. But it still feels like you accomplish something, and that you find little things here and there. It's just fantastic.
It's also not a chore as we get into other games.
We will we will get to that. Oh, but yeah, really good. Just a few things here and there that I would change. Mainly the boss fights.
Would you say
Mainly the
those are improved in the later games since we're looking back on it?
and all and I
Okay, for DJ, I was like, in my opinion, they took a step forward with with City, and then took a step back with Night.
yeah, well that's another thing we'll get to when we get to night. But
Okay,
for now,
sorry. They took two steps forward with City, one step back with Night.
yeah.
Knight was
And
a step backwards in some ways, not every way.
yeah, like I said, things I would change, make the boss fights more fun. Um, I wouldn't change the combat necessarily because it has to be that base, and I think that's perfectly fine as it is. But that's like the main thing, and no, I think it's just great the way it is. But now, Carl, we get on to Assault on Arkham, the
I
only
did
movie we'll be talking about.
and I did say I did have the timeline wrong. This happens before Asylum, but I didn't realize
Eh,
that till afterwards. So this one takes place in between. The Riddler was incarcerated by Batman at this facility after he attempted to interrogate him about the Joker's dirty bomb. The Suicide Squad is set in, which it consists of Deadshot, Harley, Captain Boomerang, and newcomers the Black Spider, King, Killer, King Shark, and Killer Frost. They're sent in there by Amanda Waller they get classified data from the Riddler that he has stolen from their mainframe, but ultimately they infiltrate the asylum to help from the Penguin. They ran into a few snags during the unexpected encounter with Mr. J, as well as a gas explosion causing a yellow alert. Batman, which delays Batman, Killer Frost. I'll just go to the end. Harley ultimately defeats Defectives, goes back to the Joker while Killer Frost is thrown back inside a police car into a mountain by Bane. Captain Boomerang is left at the asylum while Deadshot was the only one who escaped besides the Joker and Harley, and Batman threatens Waller at the end. There's not much about this.
Yeah, sort of not necessarily filler, but there's not much we have to talk about here.
And I did jump around. Ultimately, it does say ultimately their mission they realized their real mission was to assassinate the ruler, but for some reason, due to his not having knowledge on how to defuse the nanotype bomb inside their collars, which promotes to disable their own bombs. Although this does cost the life of Killer Shark due to Batman and King Shark due to his tough skin having the electroshock method useless.
So yeah, since you've seen this movie, Carl, do you have any thoughts you want to put onto it?
It's a fine movie. It's
Nothing crazy, nothing.
it, it, when you see it, you don't really think Arkham. Outside of the name having assault on Arkham, you don't think of it as in the Arkham verse. Because when I have the longer version of this Wikipedia page, the voice actors in this don't really have it. Only ones that I think are consistent is Kevin Conroy as Batman, Jarvis as Alfred, but everyone Troy actually Mark Hamill was not the Joker in this. Surprisingly, it was Troy Baker in this.
Well, that's another tally for Troy.
Let's see. No one else recognizable.
Terry didn't
Nolan
even
North.
play Harley.
No, it was this name that I'm going to put in the chat. Actually, I'm going
I
to
know that
type it into.
sometimes Starfire's voice actor
I don't
will
know
play
what her
Harley.
name.
Hendon Walsh.
Yep, that's her. Lyndon Walsh played Harley in
Yep.
this. And the only other one that I recognize is Nolan North played Penguin and Jacob's favorite new villain, the AG Beast.
That's
I
another.
don't
That's
mind.
another. That's another voice actor who's in literally everything. Nolan North.
Here's the thing. Nolan North is better than Troy Baker.
Are you saying
Nolan
you like
North.
Deadpool?
No, he's Nolan North, the guy who plays Penguin.
He also plays Deadpool. He also plays Ghost Rider in Ultimate Alliance 1, where he
That's
doesn't
pretty
have
funny.
where he has the weird like normal skeleton voice, and he doesn't have like that deep, Spirit of Vengeance voice.
But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Arkham Asylum. A Batman Assault on Arkham. You don't. It's like it's connected by a few things, but not much. It's kind of like if you ever played it at the Arkham City, the Batman Under Arkham, the mobile game, pretty much. You remember the mobile
Yeah,
game?
yeah. It's the
It's
one with
connected, but like the designs. But other than that, I couldn't really tell.
Grundy was in that one. I remember that.
But
Uh,
yeah, if you have anything else to say, else we'll go on to the best Arkham game in most people's opinions.
Absolutely.
Good.
So let's get to the elephant the size of Kansas in the room. Let's get to Arkham City, which I believe the majority of the population will say that this is the best Arkham game that there is, and it's
Actually,
it's hard.
Actually, I heard a guy. I saw a guy on. I think it was on YouTube Shorts say Arkham City is the worst Arkham game in the franchise.
That's an L take. I've never heard anything like that.
That's not a hot take. That is an
And
like what Jacob
and
just said, an L take.
and he said Arkham Knight is better than City. My jaw. I like Knight as much as the
Ooh.
next guy, but it's like
I'm sorry,
no.
man.
Arkham City is way better than Knight. I have fun driving around that damn car, but I fly around the city in Arkham City than Arkham Knight.
And
Really.
realistically, from an objective standpoint, is there any, I'm not talking about just one facet, but is there any way that you could say that as a package, Arkham Asylum is better than Arkham City?
As a package, it depends on the person. Depends on what
I mean,
kind of
yes,
experience you want.
yes, but I mean, what a lot of people mention when they talk about Arkham City is that it built on everything that Asylum did,
Yes.
which then it becomes kind of hard to say that Asylum is better in that case. But I guess it does depend person to person. But
Well, Ark like let's Arkham Asylum is like Iron Man 1. It's the foundation of the universe,
yeah,
pretty much. It sets up everything that we're going to learn. Even though, yeah, Arkham Origins is first in the timeline, but it was built off of the combat gliding mechanics of Arkham Asylum.
yeah,
But I have the plot synopsis for Arkham City.
hit
Ready?
us up.
The events of Arkham City take place somewhat in between the 6 and 8 months after Batman Arkham Asylum. Quincy Sharp, former warden of Arkham Asylum, has taken credit on stopping Joker's asylum takeover using the notoriety of becoming mayor of Gotham City. Deeming Arkham and Blackgate Penitentiary no longer suitable to contain the city's criminals, Sharp has both facilitated close both facilities and buy a large section of Gotham's slums, converting them into an open-air prison system called Arkham City. The facility is placed in care of genius psychiatrist Hugo Strange, who was secretly manipulating Sharp, and guarded by a squad of heavily armed mercenaries hired from a rogue private military firm, the Tiger Security System. The inmates are given free rein as long as they do not attempt to escape. Batman maintains a vigil over the, the detention city, concerned that the chaotic situation will get out of hand. Meanwhile, the Joker is stricken with a potential fatal disease mutated by his consumption of and cerebral transformation of the Titan formula, an unstable steroid system which had the ability to turn men into maddened monsters.
Interesting.
So
I know that doesn't go into detail, but that was the shortest one I could find.
yeah, that's the short of it. So, like I said, where do we start? Um, there's a lot of graphical improvements when it comes to this game. This game, along with all the Arkham games, good lord, looks great. I mean, it's hard to say otherwise, but this game looks great, and just everything that it did to improve on the previous one. I mean, I know we just praised how isolated and stuck together the first Asylum game was, which it is, and that's a very big plus for it. But this one felt very free, very what's the word I'm like? I don't want to say expansive because realistically the map isn't actually that big when you look at some other open world games. But
It's big technically because yes, open world wise, the map is not big. Like
yeah, but
when
then
you
there's
look
all
at
the
the
buildings you
actual
can go to.
and you have to go around a section, which makes it take longer to get around,
Yeah,
which it makes it feel larger than it is.
yeah. Although I will say that it never feels like a chore to go from one place to another.
No, because they added the mechanic of dive bombing, so you didn't have to like glide a certain amount of distance and land, then grapple again
Yeah,
to glide again.
and if you do the AR challenge, you get the grapnel boost, which is such a great way to get around.
Helps out a lot.
It helps out. It really does. And this was the first game to really implement multiple side missions. Some of them were hit or miss, but I feel like the majority of them were pretty good. Like I said, the AR challenge isn't really anything to note story wise, but it brings in a new mechanic. It's good. I like. Um, the Zaz one is actually kind of fun, in my opinion. I mean, the ending is kind of what you expect it to be, but going from phone to phone was pretty neat, in my opinion.
And you get
The a
and you kind of get Zaz's origin, which most people probably don't even know his origin.
Yeah, exactly. The Azrael one is pretty cool. I mean, especially the fact that you can throw batarangs at him and he'll catch them. I think that's pretty cool. But no,
Yeah.
no. I think the fact that you could just find him just roaming around, I think was really cool. The cold cases one was all right. I mean, when it's revealed as Hush in the end, it was a really cool reveal until Arkham Knight fucked it up.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna talk about that when we
We'll,
get
we'll,
later into it.
we'll get tonight.
I know I'm jumping the gun, but what other ones were there? There was the political prisoners that you could save. Those were just like short little combat encounters.
Deadshot.
I was about to say the Deadshot one, which was actually pretty cool. Too bad you just jabroni him at the end.
There. I think there's technically two freeze missions technically. One to save his wife
Yes.
and one to get a piece of tech that the Joker stole from him.
Yeah. There's the Titan mission with Bane where you go blow up the canisters and then surprise, surprise, Bane tries to turn on you and then you jabroni him.
It was a good,
Um,
it's a good twist.
yeah, and of course there's the Riddler. Oh boy, there's a lot of Riddler in this game.
Hmm. A little too much for
Um,
my taste, but
200 base trophies with
No, I thought it was 200. Oh, no, yeah, it is 200 base ones.
with an extra 40 Catwoman trophies
Yep.
because you can also play as Catwoman in this game, which I actually pretty I like. I just don't find her getting around as her very fun.
No.
It's not as fun as getting around as Batman, but suffice to say, there's actually four playable characters in this game. There's Batman, there's
Yep,
Catwoman.
I have the DLCs here for you have a Catwoman one, Nightwing, which you only can play in AR challenges. Tim Drake Robin, the Superior Robin,
You get his Red Robin skin, which I think is pretty cool.
and included with him is the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC
Which I think is a pretty fun aftermath to the story. I mean, you get to play as Robin.
and Batman.
Yeah, Batman's there. Barbara's there. It's fun. Brings in a really neat design for Harley, I think, but that's just me.
Reminded
Um,
me, hate to say, she reminded me of a mime.
I mean, fair. She's got like the black and white makeup going on. That's fair. But yeah, and then there's the Riddler's Revenge thing that you can do. There's like I said, there's a lot of Riddler in this game. 240 trophies. It's pretty ridiculous. That's depending on who you are, this is either the best thing or the worst thing about Arkham City. There's a lot. There's a lot in that game. I don't know if
yeah,
that's it.
it's
I don't know if
a
that's a
little too.
plus or a minus for you guys, but
I hate to say it to correct you, that is not the name of the Riddler's challenge.
aren't they called Riddler's Revenge?
No, that is the Arkham Knight name. Arkham Knight's name is Riddler's Revenge.
What's it in City?
Let me get to Cities one and
Harley
find
Quinn something.
Well, there's Harley
that.
Quinn's Revenge. I swear there was another
Uh,
one that had revenge in it, something like that.
Let me see if I can find.
Maybe it was Catwoman's Revenge.
Nope, I think that's also a night one too. I think that's a
God
night one
dang it,
DLC.
I.
I think it's Harley Quinn's Revenge or something.
Well, yeah,
I
that's the DLC for city. But there's the Riddler, the separate Riddler challenges you can do.
Okay, come on.
Which, fun fact, if you get a, I believe, I can't remember because I know the one where if you get hundred a 100 hit combo on the Joker's Funland or whatever it's called, you can fight Joker himself. And I feel like there's a similar one you can do in the Iceberg Lounge where you fight Killer Croc.
You do. After 100 in the Iceberg Lounge on Arkham Knight, you fight the Riddler. I mean, you fight Killer Croc, and that is a trophy. And Catwoman, another po Arkham episode in Arkham Knight, Catwoman's Revenge.
Fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, like we said, cities all our favorites. It's darn near perfect. Like I said, minus the fact that it has a lot, and the fact that actually I'd say this game actually also has really good boss fights in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got the Ra's al
The two,
Ghul,
the Ra's al Ghul one's pretty sweet. The Solomon Grundy
Grundy,
one's pretty fun.
the
Although I learned the hard way how to quick fire the explosive gel. I thought I had to sit there and manually put it down each time, and I kept getting absolutely shellacked, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. But that's besides the point. Um,
um the
Two
the
Face Two Face counts the Catwoman one,
yeah the
which is whatever, but it's not bad.
the Penguin boss fight.
Technically the worst one because all you have to do is get close to the man and then punch him. That's it. The
Uh, the
Joker,
Joker.
and then obviously the Clayface one, which is also pretty fun. I mean, it's a little repetitive at first, but it's all right, especially when you get him to roll into those big explosive boxes. It's pretty dope. But obviously, we're missing the elephant in the room. The what I'd say is tied for the best boss fight in the series, along with the Deathstroke one, Mr. Freeze.
Oh yeah, freeze.
That's not the good one.
That's a really good one in my opinion because because there's a duality between those two fights. Because obviously the Deathstroke one is very combat oriented. Probably I'd say probably the most physical combat oriented one in the series. While in the freeze one, you have to use literally pretty much every gadget at your disposal to find a way to hurt this guy, especially if you're playing
Eh,
on New Game Plus.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. Again, because it had
Yeah,
been a while that I had played City, and I was replaying the Return to Arkham version, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And the odd thing was my version at that time was not opening the menu to see what all the takedowns were. I had fun figuring out what all takedowns I hadn't done yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
because in that one
it's really inventive. That's what I like
you
about
have
it.
to figure out how to do all the takedowns in New Game Plus. It's a very it's a brain teaser of a boss fight, and I really like that.
It'd be really funny. It'd be really
What?
cool if they had done it. If they gave the remember the blunt trauma trophy I collected in Arkham Knight and doing all the
Yeah,
takedowns? That would have been a fun
yeah,
one to collect in Arkham City for Mr. Freeze.
yeah. Really, just do it on freeze. But yeah, and I mean, I love Mr. Freeze. I think he has a really cool because he wasn't in Asylum, I believe. I think it was only like a character bio, something like that.
Yeah.
This is the first time he actually shows up in the
Well,
Arkham.
he was referenced in he was in a I don't know how to say it. Oh, he was his cell was
Yeah, yeah, you
referenced
can
him.
like see his cell or something like that. But this is the first time you actually see Mr. Freeze, and I don't know, something about this version of Freeze is awesome. Like his voice and his design are top notch, in my opinion.